Hello, my vibrant friend. I am thrilled with the guest we have today. I have been trying to get on her schedule for a while, and she's made an impact in my life, and I think you're going to love hearing what she has to say. So today on the podcast, we have Jeannie Stith, and she is the founder of Your Color Guru. So if any of you remember from the 80s, the Color Me Beautiful trend where people helped you find what colors look good on you, this is that on steroids and with more beauty and caring and compassion. And so it's a way to find colors that look great on you. And I'll tell you all the reason why I wanted to do this episode. One is I work with women at midlife and beyond who are losing weight. And so they need to buy new clothes. And so we end up talking about that. And I also had to do this after my weight loss journey and along the way. But the longer I'm in this business, no matter what weight we are, whether we're before, whether we're not thinking about weight loss, we all need a cute top that we look fabulous in when we go out to dinner with our friends. So there just is no time when we don't need this, this service. So Jeannie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Heather. I'm so glad to be here. I agree with you about the cute top.
So tell us a little bit about your story, how you got into this and how it all came about.
Yeah, well, it was about 15 years ago. My aunt recommended that I get my colors done. We were shopping together and she said, I think you're picking the wrong colors for yourself. And I was like, I didn't even know there were right colors. What do you mean? I'm just picking, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just picking colors. So this certainly was not something I was born with, this ability. And then interestingly, we couldn't find anybody who was providing the service. I lived in Philadelphia at the time. And so we have this huge Philadelphia area. Can't find anybody who's still doing color analysis. A lot of people remember it from the 80s. It had sort of fallen out of trend. So I just kind of forgot about it for a while. And then somehow through the grapevine, I heard about a woman who was still doing color analysis out of her home. She was a retired image consultant. And she was in her late 70s. And she was still occasionally doing it out of her home. So I got her information, called her, and I did my first color analysis with her. And she ended up being my mentor later as well. She was very kind and very knowledgeable. And I'm lucky that I got to work with her. And I saw such a massive difference in how I looked in my clothes once I started wearing my colors, how easy it made shopping, because I would go to the store and I suddenly had these boundaries for what I wanted to buy and what I didn't want to buy. It was really interesting. Like I realized at that point that I had never had boundaries for shopping. You know what I mean? Even when I would go to the grocery store, I would have like, okay, I'm not going to buy something if it has high fructose corn syrup in it or whatever. I had boundaries for my grocery shopping. I had nothing when it came to clothes. I had no anything. I was just impulse buying all the time. Once I got my colors done, I was like, well, if I look so good in these colors, why would I ever want to wear anything else? And I had a good number of colors that she gave me. And so it wasn't hard to find things in my colors. And I was like, why would I want to wear colors that aren't good on me? So suddenly I was just shopping, like it narrowed down the store to about, 35 to 40% of the store that I would even consider that were things in my colors. And it helped so much with sort of that overwhelm that comes with shopping, all the choices, And then the other thing that I saw was that it really just helped with creating a wardrobe that was coordinated. We could talk more about that later, but everything started to go together in my closet. And so basically I noticed what a transformation this was for me. I ended up taking 8 friends to this retired woman who was doing it out of her house. And I thought, this is crazy. How is no one offering this service? And like me and 8 of my friends all wanted it. And so that kind of stuck with me over the years. At the time I had a different job. I was very happy in my job. I was having kids. I was having babies at that point. So I wasn't really focused on starting it. But then, it was about 10 years ago that I started Color Guru. And all of a sudden it just felt like the right time. And I had, of course, at that point, I'd kept in touch with that woman. She mentored me for a while. I did a lot of my own research to kind of study the other systems that were out there, I tried to really figure out what they were doing well and what they were missing, how we could make it better. And yeah, that's kind of how Color Guru was born.
Nice. Now, I want to acknowledge that, after having my colors done, when I was 20, that what you do is so much wider and deeper. And I know that you've, done that intentionally, partly so that it works for all kinds of women or men. But I even silly little things I've noticed, like from then I remembered that I had this one great red and was happy to know what my red was. But now I have 3 reds that I look great in. And that I feel like that's life changing. So can you talk a little bit more about how, that your process of doing more and giving more and all of this?
Yeah. When I became interested in actually doing color analysis, I got really fascinated with it and I kind of went into researcher mode. And, the color analysis I had just had the one that had done on me just had the 4 basic C's. Yeah. And I was looking at it going, kind of crazy. Like I'm seeing people who are completely different and they're in the same category as me. And I kind of learned as I studied more and more, it was way too narrow. The 4 categories were way too narrow. As soon as you start looking at a wide variety of people, I mean, we've looked at like over 20,000 people at this point and done analysis for over 20,000 people. And it's like, you see so many variations in coloring patterns. It's just amazing. And so we really wanted to make the service much more inclusive. We wanted to make sure that people were getting a color palette that was really very specifically for them. And we also wanted to make sure the colors on the card were findable in stores. That was one of the things about my color. When I had it done 15 years ago, she was still using that system, from the 80s. That was like some of these colors, I was like, I can't even find some of these colors anymore. They're just not around and available. And so I got really focused on creating a really accurate service. And also one where people had a lot of choices, but not so many that was overwhelming. And so we have 35 shades on each color card. And a color card looks this for those of you who are watching this and not just listening, but 35 shades. And it's a lot, and I find that it's a lot to choose from. And what a lot of people sort of naturally end up doing is gravitating more towards like the darker and deeper colors, like the fall and winter months, and then gravitating more towards the lighter and brighter colors on their card in the spring and summer months, and still have a lot to choose from.
Nice. And for people who are familiar with the 4 seasons, you guys tell me how many choices or how many different color palettes are there in your system?
Yeah, so there's 12 in our system. So we do use seasonal color analysis. So it is based on the season. But what we've done is we have broken down each season into 3 subtypes. And those subtypes have really important distinctions between them and some different colors on their card as well. So that it's really very specific to that person's hair, skin, and eye color. And that is actually just as a quick overview for people who don't even maybe know what seasonal color analysis is. It is simply analyzing your hair, skin, and eye color to identify what is the best color palette for you for clothing. We have also branched into makeup and hair color just because our customers were asking for it, to be honest. My business strategy is create what customers are asking us for. Once the customer service manager tells me, we've had like 10 requests for hair color help. They love their color card for their clothes. They want hair color help. We have now 4 hairstylists that are contractors with us who meet with people over Zoom to talk about a hair color plan that's ideal for their skin tone. So it's really exciting to just kind of be creating these new services as well that are still connected to color and what we're doing with advising people on how to highlight their natural beauty.
Nice. So some people notice that at midlife that their complexion changes color a little bit. Does that ever affect their color chart?
Wow, that's a great question. And the answer is that it can, but it doesn't always. So it is a case by case basis. And whenever someone gets a color analysis with us, we are at this point. I can't promise that this will still be true a year or 2 years from now, but at this point, we still are offering to look at people a second time if they make a drastic hair color change, or if they have, let their hair go gray, or if they feel like their colors are not working for them anymore and they're not sure why. So we will look at people a second time, complimentary thing we're doing now. But the answer is for some people, it can. So a drastic hair color change is probably the thing that's most likely to change your color palette. But it has to be drastic. Something within like 2 or 3 shades of your color or your natural color or your color that you had when you had your analysis done, even if it wasn't your natural color, right, is likely not to change your color palette. Getting highlights, very likely not to change your color palette. But if you go from platinum blonde to, copper red, that could change your color palette. No, it doesn't always. And so the biggest thing is to we explain to people sort of where they are on the warm, cool spectrum. And it really, when it does change your colors, it has to do mostly with going from, let's say, a warm hair color to a cool hair color. Much more likely to change your color palette than staying warm and just going a little lighter or a little darker.
Okay. So let's say like I personally have a warm palette, but if I went totally gray, it's silver. So if I did that, is that kind of like when people go silver or go white, does that change it?
It's possible that it can, but it depends where you are, this is kind of the nitty gritty of color analysis. Right? So it depends on where you are to begin with in terms of that warm, cool spectrum. So if you're close, there are people who are like on the far end of each side. Some people extremely cool. I'll give you an example just because it's fun to picture. Like an extremely cool person would be pictured like porcelain skin with pink undertone, blue eyes, and black hair with no warmth. That's an extremely cool person. They're on the far side of the warm, cool spectrum, on the cool side. Warm side, if you want to think of a celebrity, kind of fun, like Zooey Deschanel, it's on the far cool. On the far warm would be someone like Nicole Kidman, like peachy skin, strawberry blonde hair. I think she has hazel eyes. Even if she doesn't, let's just pretend for this example she does. Hazel eyes, extremely warm. Everything about her is warm, far on the warm spectrum. Now, most people, the reason color analysis is not as easy as it first seems is because most people are in between somewhere. If you're close to the middle and you're a warm, let's say, but you're close to the borderline, and then you let your hair, but let's say you're still a warm, if you let your hair go gray, that's the person who's most likely to jump into a cool, like a cool type coming from a warm type.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's good to know that it's worth looking at, but maybe still everything you have colorized is still going to look great. Talk again a little bit. I mean, you spoke a little bit about how it simplifies your shopping. So our audience is mostly professional women, and they're always looking to simplify everything. So talk a little bit about this, because I have also noticed that this was just a wonderful thing about having my card to walk into a store with. So
yeah, one of the pieces of feedback we get is that shopping becomes fun again. And I love it because I'm somebody who actually doesn't love shopping. I just I'm very busy. I run a business. I have 2 kids. I'm active in my community. I do have all sorts of other things I'm doing, and I don't have a lot of time to spend shopping. And so having the color card makes shopping laser focused. You're looking for your colors. And I always recommend that people who have their color card I always recommend that people who have their shop color first, because you can break dressing down into 3 different things. It's really very simple when you think about it this way. Dressing well is color, shape, and personal style. That's all it is. If you can get a handle on those 3 things, you can really buy things you're going to be happy with for years to come. And so knowing your colors is first, and that's the way you should shop, color first. And the reason for that is when you walk into a store, you see a sea of colors. Now, you can scan the store very quickly for your colors. You cannot scan the store for the shape of the garment. You would have to lift up every garment. And you can't scan for like whether that thing is your style or not. Again, you'd have to lift up every garment. You don't have to touch anything that's not your colors if you're looking color first. And then you can take all things that are all your colors into the dressing room. And then you decide, do I like the way this fits me? Is this my style? It's the best way. It's the most efficient way to shop. And it's just like really exciting to shop that way because it makes it kind of a treasure hunt for your colors. Like I've heard that a lot. Like people are like, oh my gosh, with my color card, like I have this fun thing to focus on. So yeah, we really get a lot of feedback and I love that feedback because for me, people often think I'm like very into fashion because I have this brand that's about clothing. I am not. I have no clue like what's in style right now or what is like on the runways in Paris. Like there's no clue at all. But I love efficiency and I like looking good and I want to look good and have it be easy. And that's why I created Color Guru to be the type of brand that it is, because that is what we are trying to help people do.
Nice. I would agree 100%. For my personal experience as well, I walk into a store and I can see all these muted blues to my right and I just turn to the left. And
that's right.
And it's also beautiful to be at a rack where, in the olden days, you flip through each thing and you start to feel tired and worn out just by the action of it. And now I'm just looking at the shoulder and only looking at things that are, in my color palette. So and even online, you start to, I know that colors aren't perfect on the computer, but a lot of them are pretty good, right? When we're doing online.
Way better because, and it used to be pretty bad. Like when online shopping first was getting popular and people were actually starting to shop for clothes online, it was pretty bad. And then they realized that they'll make more money if the color is accurate. So you better believe they're getting those colors as accurate as possible. It's not nearly the problem that it even used to be 10 years ago. I would say 9 times out of 10, you get something and it's very accurately described color-wise.
Nice. Well, let's talk a little bit about how this happens, because if people who aren't familiar with this, I think I found you on Instagram and you're in Philadelphia. I'm in Minnesota. We have never been in person together. Tell the people about how this works.
Yeah. So we have a 100% virtual service. In fact, we just crossed 48 countries. We have color cards now in 48 countries, which is really exciting. It's a completely virtual service, so anyone in the world can do it. We ship our color cards everywhere in the world, and shipping is always free, no matter where you live. And we basically, once you pick the right color analysis package for you, you fill out a questionnaire and photo upload form. And that takes about 10 minutes. We need you to answer some questions about your coloring, you telling us in your words about your coloring. Specific things like, what was your natural hair color as a child? What happens to your skin in the sun? Do you burn? Do you tan? Does your skin stay the same in the sun? Things like that. And then we need at least 7 photos of you, because obviously everybody knows they've gone outside and taken a photo and then they come inside and the photo inside looks really different than the photo out, Yeah. So what we do is we want to see what's consistent across those 7 photos. And we want to sort of cross-check that with what you've told us in your questionnaire, so that we are seeing that what you've told us in your questionnaire, we can clearly see in your photos. If you don't send good photos, we will bug you for more. We will not do an analysis with blurry photos where we can't really see what's going on with your coloring. We want to give you a really accurate result. And then within 3 business days, you will get your results in your inbox. You'll get a color card with your best 35 shades. If you've included the makeup card, you'll get the makeup card as well. We also have a membership called Your Color Closet, where you can shop online in just your colors. So we've pulled things from all different brands, all different price points, all different styles into these virtual closets, and you can shop just in your colors. So that's really something exciting. We launched that last year, and it's really been an amazing resource for our customers.
Nice. Now, you did mention tanning. Does that make a difference?
Yeah, so it does it, but it's definitely a big myth that it does. And I'll tell you why. Good quality color analysis is based on your undertones. Your undertones do not change whether you're tan or fair, even if you're somebody who gets very fair in the winter and then very naturally tan in the summer. Your undertones haven't changed, just your skin has deepened. And so when you're looking as a color analyst, you have to be focused on undertones, not the lightness or depth of the skin tone at that time. So now here's the one thing that can though. If you are naturally somebody who's got very fair skin with pink undertones, who would never naturally tan, right? You guys know who you are, and I'm one of you. You walk outside and you pretty much like go from white to red, right?
Yeah.
No tanning is happening here. If you get a spray tan, that changes the appearance of your skin to make you look like you have, or if you do like a bottle tan or something, it can make your skin look more yellowy or more olive than it truly is. So that's the one thing. But in terms of natural tanning, no, it never changes your colors. You'll look just as good in your colors because again, they're based on your undertone.
Okay. And a lot of people have different shades of brown skin. And does this system work for all these folks as well?
Everybody. We were very careful about that because when this was done in the 80s and 90s, and it was, I will say, almost all women of color were sort of lumped into the winter category, which is a total shame. That's not really, because you have women of color that have all different sorts of undertones in their skin. And so when we were creating this system, we really took that into account and made sure that there were, again, specific subtypes where, that those undertones in that deeper skin tone would be highlighted just as beautifully as anyone else. So it's really come a long way in that way, but really it was at one time, seasonal color analysis seemed very focused on white women and not including women of color. And now it's come so far and it's such a good thing.
Nice. I wanted to just bring up something I noticed and ask you to comment on it. On Instagram, on your feed, you have people who will show what they used to wear and then what they wear now. They have their colors done. I've noticed that some of these people, it's like the dark circles under their eyes disappeared.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's even the makeup. It's just clothing, but
yes. Oh, yeah. And when you see side by side of you in a color that suits you versus a color that doesn't, it's amazing. We actually send it's called our color Radiance report, and we send a whole report and we show you side by side, like here's this color versus this color. Look at the difference. And until you see it side by side, you don't realize what a big difference it makes. Your teeth look whiter. The bags under your eye can literally kind of like fade away. The lines on your face can fade away. The shadows are brightened by certain colors. It's just amazing. I mean, people are just wowed. People often pull something out of their closet, put it on, and put it back in their closet because they don't like the way it looks. And they don't realize that often it's just the wrong shade of that color for them. Not even that they can't wear, like, let's say that with yellow, right? The shirt with yellow. Because I hear so many people say, I can't wear yellow. Trust me when I tell you there is a yellow that looks amazing on everyone. You've got to get the shade right or you're going to look like you're sick. Because if you get the wrong yellow, it makes you look like you're sick. And so it's just getting the shade right. And once you get the shade right, it's like, oh my gosh, this looks amazing on me. And I thought I couldn't wear this color as a whole. No, it's just, you've got to get the right shade.
Nice. You want to, I'm going to show my card too for people who are on YouTube. I like that. I mean, I really love bright color and that's my brand as well. And because I like bright colors, but there are some wonderful neutrals on there too. So so if you like bright or you like neutral or you like variety, this kind of works for everybody, right?
Yeah, it's really true. We have a nice range of colors on our card. I'll actually show mine if I can grab it really quick. And people can see the differences because you've got a spring and I am a summer. And so this is my card, the Calm Summer card. And you can see I'm kind of wearing like that color right there. Right now, it's hard to see with the lighting here, but there's a wide variety on each card of like lighter colors. Everybody has lighter colors they wear well, and everybody has deeper colors they wear well. You know, even though my card is generally muted, I look better in muted colors, which simply means the color has more colors mixed in that mutes it down. So for example, if you take black and white, both really clear colors, and you mix them together, you get like a gray color. That's the muted color, the gray. And so I tend to wear muted colors better. But even so, I have some colors that are kind of like a little brighter. And for me, they look bright on me. Now, they wouldn't necessarily look bright on you because you have very different coloring than me. But it's just like a nice variety of colors to choose from when you're dressing.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I just really appreciate what you do. And it's super fun too, really, to find stuff that looks great on you.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, you have a generous offer for our audience. So please tell us about that. And everything will be in the show notes, but tell people where is the best place to find you online.
Yeah, so you can follow us. We're at Your Color Guru on Instagram and TikTok. And then our website is colorguru.com. And if you are interested in a package, you can get 10% off any color analysis package on our website with code COLORME, COLORME.
Nice. Thank you again for being here, Jeannie.
Thank you so much. This was really fun.